Hi, everyone, and welcome to Torah Tuesday. I'm Rabbi Rachel Bierman. This week we are studying the double portions of Matot Maseh, the last two portions from the book of Numbers. They cover a lot of ground, almost as if they are trying to tie up any loose threads that have been left dangling. When I read the portions in preparation for speaking with you today, I was struck by the fact that this section of Torah is bookended by mentions of vengeance. In the second chapter of Matot, the first portion for the week, we read that God commands Moses to declare war against the Midianites in order to avenge the Israelite people. And then in the last chapter of Maseh, the second portion for this week, we hear that God commands the Israelites to establish cities of refuge where people who have unintentionally killed someone can be safe from the potential vengeance from the victim's family. It is fascinating to see that this double portion holds conflicting answers about whether vengeance is the same thing as justice, with the first example seeming to suggest that yes, vengeance is a just action, and the second example disagreeing by putting protections into place to foil the plans of so-called avengers. The difference between these visions of justice remind us that we should be skeptical whenever we hear claims that there is a clear or black and white concept of, quote, biblical justice that relies on a rule like an eye for an eye. We are presented with at least two different visions of justice within 5 chapters, a number which will be multiplied exponentially when we consider the diversity of opinions included in the books of Torah and the Hebrew Bible. So, if there are many perspectives about vengeance and justice in the Torah, how are we supposed to decide which is the correct one to lift up in our own lives? Tellingly, the vision of justice that is expanded upon by the rabbis of the Talmud is the second example of our portions. Our rabbis take to heart the commandment that we are required to provide spaces where those who have unintentionally hurt or even killed someone can find safety. They understood that in these cases, justice should be built on mercy rather than on vengeance or punishment. They actually expanded on the idea of the cities of refuge and said that it wasn't enough to designate those cities and then just hope that those in need of that kind of protection would be able to find them. Instead, the rabbis argued that in order to fulfill this responsibility, it was necessary to put signs at every mile of the road that pointed to the nearest city of refuge. The rabbis also declared that the cities that were chosen had to be near water and markets so that sustenance would be always available. The rabbis even said that if the population of these places diminished and the future of the city was in doubt, Israelite priests would have to be brought in order to ensure that the city survived. Both we and this week's Torah portions contain both the urge to punish or seek vengeance and the impulse to lean on our compassion and offer protection and mercy. Our rabbis lifted up the latter of the two, expanding on the protections that are offered when cities of refuge were established. I hope that we follow the example of our rabbis and challenge ourselves to lean into the impulse for compassion and mercy, putting protections in place to guard others and our own hearts against the temptations of vengeance. And that is the end of the book of Numbers. And so we say the words our tradition teaches are recited whenever we conclude a book of Torah and prepare to begin the next. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us strengthen one another.